Wrestling podcast never felt this great. Tables, ladders, chairs, they tell it all. From the highest highs to the lowest fall. Grit and glory tales from the ring. Every chant, every cheer they'll bring. D-Von and the Duke bring the heat. Wrestling tales knock you off your seat. Tune in now, don't you be late. Wrestling podcast never felt this great.
Brothers and sisters, welcome back. Welcome back to another exciting edition of the Devon and the Duke podcast. This is a limited edition series hosted by your main man, Duke Loves Rasslin, and of course, the five-time Hall of Famer, one of the greatest of all time, the man who is the Hardy Boys Slayer, Brother Devon Dudley. What's going on there, Devon?
Good. How you doing? You putting a lot of pressure on me.
Listen, man. Matt and Jeff. I see that every time I talk trash, because I always put it out there online and stuff, and I see that they're looking at it. I'm starting to feel like maybe this is like bulletin board material where they're just, they're playing the audio, they're looking at the tweets, and they're just like, okay, we gonna get them.
We're gonna have Devon climb up a ladder and have him hang with Jeff. That'll get him.
And now that they got that Mara Sade, Lita 2.0 here, you got to worry about her now too, man. What if she wants to do a move on you? You got to watch out, man.
Well, it'll be like old times, We'll have to take the girl and put her up on Bubba's shoulders and put her right through it. Put her right through.
You hear that,
table.
Mara? You better watch out. She's a friend of the show now. You better watch out, Mara.
Oh yeah, Mara, we'll put you right through a table.
Uncle Devon coming.
Oh yeah, we just stay in your place, stay in that corner, leave us alone, leave us be. We'll leave you be.
I'm gonna say something here about her. I feel like it's kind of like a wrestling glow up, as the kids would say. The new look, and again, it's a take from what Lita used to wear back in the day and stuff like that. She fits in with those Hardy Boys like a glove, huh?
Yes, Lita was definitely a perfect fit. I remember Lita being in ECW, and I remember Lita, doing what she was doing. And Paulie was very high on her then, and
Sure.
as he should have been. Lita was very talented. She had the look. She was young. She was hungry. So by the time she got to WWE, it was only fitting that she was with the Hardys. But she was with Rios, I think. What was his name? S.A. Rios at first.
Yeah, S.A. Rios when she first got there.
And then they were like, well, why not put her with the Hardys? And it was a perfect fit. Her style and clothing and things like that. Everything just screamed Hardy Boys. So it was only fitting to put her with them. So now with this young lady, I don't know too much about her, but I do know that she could be definitely that fit that would, be that substitute that Lita was at one point.
Let me tell you something about Mara Sade. If you and her were standing across from each other and I had to put money on it, man, I'm not gonna, you're my brother. I don't want to disrespect you, but my money might be on her, man. She's one of those people that she's got hand-to-hand combat experience. She likes to shoot guns in her free time. She's basically an action hero. You know what I mean?
You do know that I'm 53 years old, and I'm at that point in stage where I ain't fighting no more. I'm getting a chair and wrapping it right around your head. Female or not, I ain't taking no chances. So she could be across from me if she wants, looking at me. If I got a chair, you better duck, because it's coming.
Wait a second. You're not old enough to be Gran Torino yet. Remember that Clint Eastwood movie?
I'm not there yet, but with all the beatings and all the crazy shit that I've been through, hell yeah, I feel like it. I ain't got time to be doing that. Listen, I told my kids at one point, especially the older boys, I said, mess with me if you want. I got a bat by the side of my bed. It's that be cool bat. Don't be messing with me. I might be old, but you ain't taking me out.
That's it. Too old to take an ass whooping these days. I'm with it. Well, shout out to all of them there. Folks, it's coming. It's coming. Hardys versus Dudleyz. All right. Somehow, some way, we have hit the jackpot we're going to get it one more time here. You definitely want to be there, Lowell, Massachusetts. I'm telling you right now, it is going to be a party. It is going to be a good time. They're going to be playing all the greatest hits. As I say, play Freebird, play
Yeah.
Freebird. You know,
Yeah, well,
so
I'm
it's
looking
coming up
forward.
in just a couple weeks.
Yep, I'm looking
Yeah,
forward to it. Again, we're gonna play the greatest hits. We're gonna have a good time, and win, lose, or draw, whatever the outcome might be, we're gonna have fun. And you know, I'm going to, say it's the last time that the Dudley boys will probably be together doing their thing. And what fitting way to do it than TNA? People say, what about WWE? That would have been great too, but TNA got the offer. So, I'm looking forward to it. And, I just want to make sure that we go in there and give a great performance. And that's all I'm worried about. My training has been great. I've been training, two, sometimes three times a day. And the third time is basically therapy. In other words, I go to a gym called ES Fitness in Florida, and their therapy, the ice bed, which is called Creo, the Creo bed, the whirlpool, the ice plunge, and the oh god, I always get this mixed up. It's the things for your legs where you it's like therapy for your legs. They you put your legs in these things, and you turn it on and it freaking squeezes it, but it helps the blood to circulate through the body. So I love after my training is done, I make sure I hit those therapies. That's one of my major things. Plus, I get my massages too, twice a week, for 2 hours, so to speak. I go in there and I really work on my body to try to get it back to what it used to be. Am I going to be 100% Devon? Maybe not 100%. I would say more 95. I'm not looking to reinvent the wheel. I'm looking to go out there and put on a great performance with Bubba and the Hardys, Matt and Jeff, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to have fun. We're not going to disappoint. We're going to go out there and do what we do best. We're going to hit the greatest hits and go home right after that. To be able to leave for me on this note, this is what I'm looking for, and it's one of those things where it's whether it be passing the torch, whether it be having the titles again for the 25th time. you know it could be one of those things where if we do win for the 25th time, I don't know, I may have to reconsider retiring. I may have to reconsidering going back for one more run. So you never know what's going to happen after Bound for Glory.
you never know what's going to happen. Indeed, uh, first of all, Bound for Glory, October 12th. All right, Songus Center in Lowell, Massachusetts. So again, it's the 21st event for Bound for Glory, 21st anniversary here. So it's a huge event. Hardys versus Dudleyz. It's going to be huge, folks. So you definitely want to make sure you get there. If you can't be there, then of course you can order it on pay-per-view, but you got to check it out. So there's that. And you said the fitness place, so EOS
Yes.
Fitness. And folks, you can check out eosfitness.com for more information. That's pretty cool that they have those leg massagers there that squeeze the legs. It's kind of like a long boot, basically, like that goes up to your
Yeah,
thighs, right?
it's really something. I have a portable one here at the house, but it's nothing like better than
Hmm.
having the one at the gym because the chairs and everything is just more advanced than the ones that you have at home. And I don't know, I like it better. Again, I've been doing boxing as well, and not boxing to learn how to box, but the footwork. And you'd be surprised what boxing can do for you cardio wise and foot placement. Um, moving side to side, moving forwards and backwards. The trainer, her name is CJ. She basically is phenomenal. She's an ex MMA person. I gotta sometimes remind her because we'll put the gloves on and she'll have those pads, right, left, jab, jab, and all of that, and then she'll go kick. I go, whoa, wait a minute. What the hell you being kick? I'm not UFC. I ain't trying to fight UFC. I'm just trying to get my footwork together. And she's like, "Oh, Devon, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Just jab, jab, cross, and this and that. Move left to right." And that's basically what it is. I'm not taking boxing because I want to become a boxer, but it's just the training that you do in boxing can help you. So this is why some people um, Well, not athletes or what have you, they take boxing classes because the cardio is phenomenal, and your balance and footwork, just walking down the street, it helps you so much. Instead of, like for instance, I was told that I walk on the balls of my feet. So I had to learn how to walk on the heels of my feet first and then connect to the connect to the balls of my feet. But I've been learning how to just stay on the heels. And, so it's been working great. It's like being in football as well. In other words, they got the ladder laying down. You got to jump in and out of the ladder, move left to right, backwards and forward. So I'm doing all of that, flipping tires, doing the rope, and pushing the sled. And again, it's to fire up the legs. It's to get the legs going. So when you're in that ring, the first thing that can go on you is your legs. And when they go, you're done. So I want to make sure that that doesn't happen. And for the past month, 2 months, I've been doing it going nonstop full, and it's been working great. So I made a comment to you before we went on the air that, after the back surgery and everything, sometimes it was hard to even want to get up and go to the bathroom because after coming off the the back surgery, the legs were a little rubbery. And when you walk very gingerly, and I had to walk very gingerly. So it was kind of like because the tendons and the nerves weren't firing up like they should have been. And so even though I went through 2 or 3 rehabs and things like that, it got to the point where it was helping, but not to the degree that I wanted it to be. And so my regular trainer plus the boxing trainer, which is CJ, my regular trainer, which is Jay Crutch, at EOS Fitness as well, both of them have been doing it with me, uh, making me go in there and do all that stuff, the footwork, the sled, all of that. So, and listen, there's times where I'm got snot coming out of my nose. I'm got my mouth is drooling from the mouth because I'm so tired, but yet every time I get through it, the next session becomes easier and the legs start to wake up because they start to fire back. And that's what you need to do. So anybody who's been off for a while, who's somebody in the world of professional wrestling, and they do a comeback, that's the way you have to push your body. You know, you have to push your body like that. I can't just run on the treadmill, do the elliptical or what have you, and hope that I get my wind and everything goes right. I get in the ring now at the school more. I'm going in the ring today when I get down there, and, I love doing mat work. In other words, chain wrestling into headlocks, takeovers, head scissor, kick out, get up, grab the head, arm drag, or headlock takeover again, get up, make your way to the rope, shoot them off, shoulder tackle, drop down, hit toss, arm drag, body slam. Getting that fluidness back into my steps again, which is really working and is really great. I basically am enjoying it and loving every bit of it. Now, do I want to go back full time? No, I don't want to go back full time, but I definitely want to go back to make sure that these fans know that I'm giving my 110% and I'm not going to disappoint.
I love it, man. You're taking this so seriously. It's so fascinating to see it and exciting, man. I mean, this is really really cool. You're doing boxing, you're doing 3 days in the gym. You're getting your smoothies. Last week, everyone popped for your Smoothie King recipe. When we were talking earlier, you were talking about making a protein shake. So we got to do it now, Devon. What's the Devon Dudley protein shake recipe
Well,
here?
it's one of my sponsors and it's grass fed protein. And I add in, the powdered peanut butter. I try to stay away from the Jiffy or Skippy or whatever peanut butter because there's so much sugar in that. So I try to stay away from that and just use the powdered protein one, which is great. I put that in there. I put some of my supplements in there, which is the joint relief and all of that good stuff. Mix it up. Does it taste horrible at first? Yeah, it does. It's terrible. But your taste buds get used to it, and next thing you know, you're ready for that second shake. But I tell you what, I can't wait to eat real food. A lot of vegetables with chicken, steak, things like that. I don't eat seafood. I don't like seafood, which is weird because I can eat Starkiss in the can. Love that, but other fish cannot eat it and don't like it. Um, y-
Oh, that's
yeah,
interesting.
it's very interesting. I still haven't figured out why that is. But after going through with DDP and looking at the videos he had me look at on food, it's just changed my whole outlook on food. And at 53 years old, I'm down at the weight that I want to be, and I'm comfortable. I'm at my ECW weight now, so I'm at 240. So I was hoping maybe by October 12th to reach maybe 225. I don't know. That might be too small. I might just stay at 230, but that is probably a goal that I wouldn't mind. But I'd rather maintain that weight after I'm really said and done with everything, because I don't need to be a big guy anymore. I don't need to have all that size, that muscle. I ain't trying to impress nobody. I just want to live my life with my kids and just go on with my family.
Well, certainly, man, you got a long way to go, and as long as you keep doing what you're doing, the DDP yoga, all this stuff, man, it's inspirational,
Absolutely. I can't
and
stress enough to people. Stop sitting home, feeling sorry for yourself. Just go out there, get the app, work. It'll be the best investment you probably could ever invest in. I mean, it really is good. It shows you how to eat and everything. Stop being lazy and just do it.
just do it. I love it. Just do it. You hear that, Nike? Just do it. You know. Speaking of just do it, oof, we have had a crazy weekend. WWE WrestlePalooza, the first PLE with ESPN, and the first PLE in a very long time, in years, not on Peacock. So before we even talk about the card, there were some technical difficulties there, Devon, and I want to get your take on this, man, because folks were essentially led to believe if they had ESPN, whether it's through their cable provider, their streaming platform like Sling or something like that, they were led to believe if they already subscribed to ESPN through their package, that they would be able to watch WWE PLEs. And unfortunately, folks found out really quickly that that was not the case. There is something called ESPN Unlimited, which is their new app, and it has different requirements. So just because you subscribe on cable or satellite or through these streaming services, that does not automatically mean you get ESPN Unlimited. So for instance, if you have YouTube TV, you don't automatically get ESPN Unlimited, which means that's a separate charge, a separate $29.99 per month that you're going to have to cough up in order to get access there. So I did it through Fubo TV, and just a heads up to everybody out there, if you download the Fubo app, they'll give you a 5-day trial, free trial, and that has ESPN Unlimited. But here's the issue: I downloaded the Fubo app and did everything I had to do. So okay, so now I can watch everything that is part of that package. Great, including ESPN. Great, but WrestlePalooza is through the ESPN app. So I had to actually go back and activate the ESPN app. And then when I go to sign in with my credentials, I was able to do that. Then it brings me to Disney. And it tells me that I have to sign in with my Disney credentials and tie it all together. And then, oh, by the way, then I have to go into my ESPN app and select a special button here that activates ESPN Unlimited. And then once I did that, that's when I finally had access to WWE programming through the ESPN Unlimited app. Very, very challenging. It took me all of 45 minutes to go through all that nonsense. And I'm one of the few people who actually was able to do it and get in and watch the PLE. Most people did not have that experience. It was a lot more difficult for them and very frustrating, quite frankly. So I'm going to put it out there right now. This is all on ESPN and Disney, who is their parent company. This ain't a WWE issue, folks. So just make sure when you're giving your frustrations out there, it ain't WWE who's responsible for how you sign into the app and your access and stuff like that. They have nothing to do with that part of the business. Zero. And to WWE's credit, they tried all that they could do to make it clear how to gain access to ESPN Unlimited in order to watch WrestlePalooza and other PLEs coming up. But just from a general standpoint, Devon, what are your thoughts on this whole notion of having to jump through so many hoops? You should be able to just press one or two buttons and you're in. And unfortunately, that just wasn't the case for anybody.
Again, it's one of those things where, you would hope when companies change to something that's going to better the company, it would better, the fans as well. Not saying that WWE didn't do that, but they were just having problems. Not everybody could figure it out. I was listening to Bubba and LaGreca on Busted Open, and they were expressing how many people were writing in and telling them how bad it was to try to download and watch this thing. Somehow or another, like you said, you have to come up with a solution that if this does happen, then how do you bounce back from it? How do you correct your situation with the people? And I know LaGreca was talking about how he's tech savvy. He knows he can get on anything and everything with no problem, but he had problems getting on it. So I'm not sure what was going on in ESPN, but it needs to be corrected fast or they're going to lose a lot of fans.
Here's my issue with the whole thing. The way that they rolled out this whole notion, you're going to have this new app, and we just gave WWE new contracts to the PLEs immediately. Coming September 20th, you're going to be able to watch the first PLE, yada, yada, yada. They made it seem as if you already subscribe to ESPN through cable or other means, that you were going to be okay. It's really kind of a rotten way to do business, to find out in the end that that's just not the case at all, and it's a little bit more technical than that. So, for you got the bishop, I got my mom. Let's say they wanted to watch the PLE. How the hell were they going to be able to do that? You know what I mean? And I think this is pretty short-sighted of a lot of companies here. You forget there is a technological gap.
Mm-hmm.
And even like you said, Dave LaGreca, who's a guy who I would say he's an expert on this stuff, e-commerce and all that stuff. That's what his business is. He had trouble. I had trouble. There is a technological gap. So if we have trouble, goodness gracious, what the hell is an older person who just wants to sit down and enjoy some wrestling because they're a lifelong fan, or maybe they're casual and they want to see what's going on? Why are you making it so difficult for people to consume what you're selling, basically?
Yeah.
It
should never be that hard.
It's crazy.
It really shouldn't be that hard.
No.
But you know what?
No,
but
not
I
at all.
think there's enough cries and phone calls, what have you, that were made that WWE, I guarantee you, is going to probably make sure that this never happens again. I'm almost positive of it.
Well, this is the problem, though. I think it's out of their hands. You know what I mean? So it's really like Disney just has to get their act together.
So is it Disney?
And I shouldn't have. Yeah, bro, they're the ones who own ESPN and all that stuff. And like I told you, it's crazy. I signed up for the Fubo, which let's just say that's like a cable network, right? It's like a cable provider, like Xfinity or something like that, even though it's an app. So I signed in through them. Then I had to go to the ESPN Unlimited app and activate that, and then sign in there using my Fubo credentials. Okay, no problem. But then, in order to watch the WWE stuff, I had to sign into Disney. That's where I'm like, okay, this is a little too much here. Why the hell am I signing in 3 times to watch one program? That doesn't make sense.
Right.
Doesn't make sense. And if you're somebody who is not used to having to go through these kind of troubleshooting issues and you get frustrated easily, you're going to give up.
Well, I also heard, which is VPN. I'm sure you know what that is, which is one of my sponsors.
Yep.
On the podcast. I believe it was also mentioned that if you had VPN, a lot of people, it was a lot easier for them to look at the pay-per-view than it was if you didn't have it. So apparently VPN is something that everybody maybe should look into if you're a true diehard wrestling fan and you don't want to miss or have an opportunity like this happen to you again.
So let's put that in perspective because you brought up a good point, and even Stephanie
I put that
McMahon
over. Yeah.
brought that up.
Hmm.
Yeah. So a VPN essentially it blocks where you live. So when you're on the internet doing anything, and yes, folks, even on your TV, it's connected to the internet if you have a smart TV. The VPN blocks where you're located and actually makes it seem like you're located somewhere else. So in other countries, could be Canada, could be Mexico, it could be Algeria, like it could be anywhere in the world. But in other countries, they don't have this same transition over to ESPN. ESPN may not even be in their country. So the
And
way to watch
that's another
PLEs is a
thing.
little different. So
I
you
I
could
just don't
use a
get it. It just
VPN and
something's
make
got
it
to be
seem like
done.
you're in the United Kingdom, for example. Yeah. Yeah, I hear that. I hear that 100%. I hear that 100%. So, that was an unfortunate kick in the you know what for folks who were just trying to enjoy a PLE on Saturday. They had to jump through all these hoops. With that said, the show was good. The show was very good. It started off with Brock Lesnar destroying John Cena. I mean, just beat the hell out of him like he always does. Brock Lesnar always beats up John Cena when he comes back. That's just the way it is. So why not one more time for the road? Uh, but during this stage here, where Cena only has a couple
How
more
many how
matches
many
left,
does Cena have
do you think it
left?
was the right idea to have Brock defeat John? I think you only had it's either 2 or 3. Let's just call it 3. I
I
think you
think
only have
John is
like
in a
3 matches
position right
left,
now
and
to
then he's done.
where if there wasn't something at the end of all of this, he wouldn't do it. I mean, not that he wouldn't do it, but I think he would put himself in a little bit better position than to be destroyed by the beast. You know, especially after everything he's done, accomplished, and things like that. I'm sure he doesn't want to go out as being, you know, laid to rest in the way he was. A lot of people are talking about that, but again, I'm sure John has something planned for that. I'm sure him and creative have done something. Mhm.
I mean, it could be as simple as the whole Undertaker streak thing. Brock beats the Undertaker. He's the most dominant superstar in history after that, let's say, right? And then Roman
Right.
Reigns defeats Brock. Roman Reigns doesn't get that run without beating Brock Lesnar. And that run is not as significant without Lesnar beating The Undertaker. So is this another one of those situations where Brock,
Could be.
in the long run, is about to make somebody else? You know what I mean? It, I'm hoping it's just as simple as that, because if that's not the case, then it's kind of a screwy thing.
Right.
I don't see Brock Lesnar could lose that match and still be Brock Lesnar. You know what I mean? So what was the real point? What did that really accomplish? But it was a beatdown, man. There's no question about it. It was
Hmm.
it was a straight beatdown. AJ Lee made her return. Her and CM Punk, they defeated Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins.
I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of AJ Lee's. I love the craziness. In other words, I do. I love because she plays it so well. Like when she got tagged in, I saw this part on YouTube. She gets tagged in, and the way she gets into the rope and that look she gives with the head tilted to the side, it's like Rob Zombie's wife in Devil's Reject. It's like she's gorgeous, she's beautiful, but yet there's a sick side to her, and you better be careful. And with AJ Lee, she plays it so freaking well. Even when she came back on that Monday Night Raw, she skips around, and right before she gets in the ring, she looks at Becky and she tilts the head down, and she has that sinister look on her, and it's like, yeah, as a fan, I'm looking at like, Becky, get out of the ring and run now because you have no idea what's about to happen to you. And she gets in the ring and she just unloads. And it's just really, really cool to see that somebody can play a character that well and really get it over. And I think she's doing a great job of it.
Well, who the hell says she's playing?
Listen, you said that, I didn't.
Listen, she got a book out that says crazy is my superpower. I believe her. You know what I'm saying? I believe her, brother. You know, but for her to leave the company because women weren't getting the opportunities that they are today, but for her to leave the company, and right when she leaves, that's when the women's revolution happens. And all of these women have benefited from it. You know, Sasha Banks, Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, Bayley, Alexa Bliss, Bianca Belair, Asuka, Io Sky. When you start going down the list, you look at all of these women who have benefited from AJ Lee basically standing up to the company and telling them that they're full of crap and that women deserve more. And oh, by the way, she was right. The fact that she gets to come back and put on a match, and in the match is somebody who benefited from her advocacy. It was brilliant. It was fantastic. I loved it. And shout out to Becky Lynch. She's been getting high marks for how well she was able to be the ring general in there. And brother, she certainly was. I'm not always the biggest Becky Lynch fan. I usually am rooting against her because I tend to like her opponents more than her. But I got to give credit where credit's due. She really, really bumped her ass off. She fed well, and she made it believable. Like it was just solid stuff all around in that match, man. We knew the guys are going to do what the guys are going to do, but AJ hasn't wrestled in almost 10 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
and a credit to her. I mean, she really did a great job. I mean,
great job.
like I said, she comes off as, beautiful girl and whatever, and but then there's a sick side to her. I mean, a sick side that would make you wonder and think, I better not mess with this girl. Something's up. But yeah. Yeah, and I think she knows that, and I bet you, and I can almost guarantee she probably wants to portray that type of persona coming from her in the character that she plays, which is good for storytelling. And I mean, it's really really good what she's doing.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm glad she's back. Now, she signed a multi-year contract, so this is not her only match, which is even better. So we got some dream matches ahead. I can't wait to see, quite frankly.
Hmm.
It's fun, man. It's fun. The match of the night, by far, Io Sky versus Stephanie Vaquer. And, Stephanie Vaquer, she ends up winning the women's championship. Keep in mind that Naomi had to vacate the championship because she's pregnant. So this Chilean superstar who tried out for the WWE 7 years ago didn't make it, and she ended up going down to Mexico, make a name for herself. She turned herself into an international star. Um, does a deal with WWE, comes in, becomes NXT Women's Champion. Now she's a WWE champion on the main roster there. What are your thoughts on Stephanie Vaquer being a champion now?
I think it's great. Like you said, she has proven without a shadow of a doubt that she deserves it. All the stuff that she had to go up against just to be at this level is great. She had to face so much adversity, and now look at her. So I mean, kudos to her. And Io Sky, I love her. She is great in that ring. I was listening to somebody, and they said it best. Ever since she's been on TV here in the States and doing what she's doing in WWE, she has not had a bad match. Not one. When you go
Mm.
and watch her matches, every single match that she does is on point. Her facials are great, how she reacts to things. I became a big fan of hers when oh god, I hate when I get brain farts like this. Her and Oscar. When her and Oscar did
Was it
that thing,
Oscar?
that promo in the
Yep.
ring, and Oscar was going off on her in Japanese, and he just looked at her and went, "Bitch." It was. I thought it was great. I remember I kept rewinding it because her delivery was so good, and the way those two play off each other was great.
Yeah.
I almost hated to see them join. I almost hated to see them
Well,
join forces because they had such good matches that I wanted to see them actually go at it and do it again. She has not had a bad match, and Oscar's another one. Oscar, if you ever watch Oscar's matches in Japan, she was in there with grown men, and they were killing her. I mean, beating her
yep,
as if you'd want to call the police. It was so bad. That's how bad they were hitting Oscar, and Oscar's bleeding from every part of her body, everything. I mean, it was so great to watch. It really was. And Io Sky is just another, she's like, I'm not going to say she's another Oscar, but she's a phenomenal worker. She's just great in what she does. And again, since she's been in the WWE, Io has not had a bad match. And so many people have put that match over and put her over and said that she is a star before she became a star.
that's a fact. That's a fact, 100%. And it's not a surprise when you consider Asuka, Io, and Kairi Sane. They have basically been intertwined with each other for a long time. I mean, they were in Lucha Underground. Asuka wasn't in
Right.
Lucha Underground, but Kyrie and Io were. But these ladies, they've kind of Asuka's. She came before them, but they mirror each other in a lot of ways, and they're different, but they have such great chemistry. Whether they're together as a team or now they're apart, Asuka and made Kyrie Sane turn on Io last night on Raw, and they beat Io up. So you're about to get those matches right back with Asuka and Io. Um, and shout out to Asuka. She had a bust ass match last night with Rhea Ripley. It was incredible, that match, and it main evented Raw, by the way, on Netflix, folks. If you get a chance, if you haven't seen that match, go check it out, folks, because it was just incredible. Asuka's my favorite wrestler on the planet, hands down. I love everything that she does, and I gotta say, Io is a close second. Like those two, my God. So I can't wait for them to battle again, just like you said, because you know it's going to be a
You
great match.
you really do. And I mean, kudos to these ladies. And then listen, when in the history of pro wrestling, being on TV or just being around, period, have the women outdone the men? And I hate to say it that way, but it's the truth.
Yeah,
I mean, and
yeah,
again, these guys, the guys in there, don't get me wrong, I'm not bashing the guys and this and that. They're doing a great job as well. But it's just so good to see the women really step up and be looked at as athletes and not just tits and ass. They are looking at it as they're being respected. And you know, again, when Oscar and Io gets in that ring, you know it's going to be a good match. You know that they're coming to put on a performance.
absolutely. Absolutely. And again, we talked about AJ Lee. AJ Lee left the company because women were not getting these types of opportunities. The fact that she comes back into the company and she comes back into this sort of thing, my God, just man, it almost brings a tear to my eye to think about it because it's when you and Devon, you can appreciate this as a black wrestler who came into the business at a time where the only black world champion that we had
Mhm.
was Ron Simmons, and that was a couple of years before you started, right?
Yeah, that was a few years before I started. I think what was it, 98? I mean, not 98,
No,
89, 87.
it was because Flair had went to WWF at the time. So yeah, you're looking at like maybe 91, 92, about
Right.
91, 92, somewhere around that time period right there,
And this is
right?
when, yeah, this was when Bill Watts took over.
Yeah,
That was
yeah,
during that
which is
era.
ironic. Yeah,
Right. And with the story behind that, with people who know the history behind that. But Ron becoming the first African American champion, it was phenomenal. Black people in the audience crying because we
crying.
never
Yeah,
thought we would see that day. It's no different than when Obama became the president.
yep.
It was like nobody ever thought they would see the day that would happen, that the United States would get a black president. And then they try to downgrade it. Oh, he's not really American, number one. Oh, he's not really black, Yes, he is, number one. Stop it. Stop it. Stop trying to water down shit that you shouldn't be watering down. Please. The man identifies himself as a black man, regardless if one of his parents is white or not, it doesn't matter. If that's what he says he is, and that's what he says he is, stop it already.
Damn right.
But
Damn right.
it felt good to see that. And I remember I was just telling this story yesterday about Tony Atlas and Rocky Johnson becoming the first African Americans to win the WWE Tag Team title. I remember I had gotten a splinter. Uh, tell the story is so bad. I was about 10 years old, and this bench in the area that I was in was all messed up and all of that splinters everywhere. And somebody was playing a joke on me like they were going to hit me. And I kind of jerked out the way. And when I did, I slid across, and this splitter went right up my ass. I mean, it went straight up in my skin, right in my ass. So I had to go get it cut out and everything. And I remember my grandmother taking me to the hospital. We come back home. I got gauze and stitches and all of that in my ass because they got the splinter out. And I remember laying on the bed, not being able to move in so much pain. And that match came on. And because it was a Saturday, that match came on. Me and my grandmother both were watching it. My grandmother was a huge wrestling fan at the time. And when they won, she cried. I was crying. I had no idea why I was crying. I was 10 years old. I had no idea why I was crying. I just saw her crying. And when they panned out to some of the audience members were crying. So I just did it because everybody else was doing it. But I didn't understand how important that was to not only pro wrestling, but just African Americans in general. It was almost like, we had overcome for so long. We have been put, in the back and shunned it, but now, it was starting to come out. And I thought it was great because, again, we have a lot of African Americans that have basically spilled their blood, sweat, and tears in that ring, but never got the recognition that they deserve. Because, like I always like to say, in this wrestling business nowadays, a lot of the people in there that used to have their clan sheets and all that over their heads, they traded in their sheets for suits. And so many guys like that, you know, took their sheets off, put suits on and a pencil in their hand and would write off black people. And that's what they did. And, to see that overcome with those two incidents with Tony Atlas and Rocky Johnson winning the titles against the Wild Samoans, um, and Ron Simmons winning it, especially in the NWA. That's the Deep South, back then. So that was very, very, wrenching for African Americans back then.
Absolutely. And again, we don't get the career, the Hall of Fame career, the 5-time Hall of Fame career of Devon Dudley without that. Right. And we got Devon Dudley. Yeah, I'm gonna hit you with something here. We don't get Kofi Kingston without Devon Dudley. Of all the wrestlers that have come since you, I would say Kofi Kingston is probably the biggest example of, because Devon Dudley was so excellent for so long and so consistent, a Kofi Kingston could exist. Not just, he was going to exist anyway as a wrestler, but to accomplish what he accomplished, to have the confidence that, oh yeah, this guy could do it and what have you. Because folks, that is how serious the racism is. It's that serious. No matter how talented you are, no matter what you do, they weren't putting belts on people that look like us. Because of what you accomplished, that made it possible for Kofi Kingston way before the New Day to accomplish all that he accomplished. And then by the time a New Day comes around, he was able to jump the shark and become world champion and all that good stuff on top of everything. But brother, you took the baton and ran the race and got us to that next point, and then passed it off to Kofi and those guys, and look at where they are now.
Listen,
You know what I mean?
Bobo was ill, Junkyard Dog, Coco Beware, you know, um, Tony Atlas, Rocky Johnson, all the African Americans that came before me, Ron Simmons, Butch
Butch
Reed,
Reed. Yeah.
you know, all these guys that came before me that became successful, in this business. Hey, manager wise, the Doctor of Style, Slick,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
all these guys that came before me, they set the pay, they set it for me. They opened up the door for me. So if I did that for anybody going forward, in the African American community, then my heart is overwhelmed, and I'm very grateful to have done that. I'm just happy, that African Americans are now getting the chance to showcase what we could possibly do. Because I'm going to tell you right now, there was still a lot of racism back then, especially during the Attitude Era, the Dusty, Ric Flair era, the Hogan and Andre era. There was still a lot of racism, which you wouldn't think it was, but there was. There were things that the fans don't know about, things that were being said and done behind the scenes. And now, these documentaries that are coming out, a lot of this stuff is being exposed. And, it's only rightfully so, because again, so much wrong has been done that now, African Americans are getting their just due. It's like, well, sit down and shut up. You get the titles, you're getting over in wrestling. So just, no, I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to sit down and shut up because I shouldn't have to. It shouldn't have been done in the first place, but it was. And some of these people that have done wrong and said things are still very much active in the wrestling world today. Whether you think so or not, they are. There's people in other organizations, that grew up, in an era where, black people were secondary citizens, whatever, and they still believe that to this day, but now they got to keep quiet about it because cancel culture will cancel their asses quick. And they know it. Now
Hmm.
they're hiding. Now they're hiding like the cowards that they are. And they know who they are. And if you're listening to this, you know who you are.
Damn right. Damn right. You know what? You know something, Devon? If you debut today, if Devon Dudley debuted today, I don't even think you'd be a tag team wrestler. I think you would be similar to Obafemi. Obviously, his gimmick is part of his culture and what have you. He is African and all that, so that's part of it. But just a guy who's taken seriously, who's an ass kicker, who he's gonna deliver. So because of that, you can trust him with the championship, NXT championship and what have you. Oba's definitely going to be in the main roster, main event in WrestleMania someday, all that. I truly believe you would be like a Obafemi in that regard if you debut today.
Well,
Wait,
again, what would have happened today if I'd have debuted as opposed to when I did debut in 99, I'm sorry, in 96, April 13th at the Lost Battalion Hall in Queens Boulevard, the ECW. Everything, in my opinion, happens for a reason. And the timing that I was brought into the business happened exactly the way it should have played out. But I understand where you're coming from. What type of person would I have been if I would have debuted now? I don't know. I would love to have seen that, but I guess I should just
you
be
would have had
happy.
different opportunity. You would have had different opportunity.
Absolutely.
That's the point I'm making. You would literally be looked at as somebody who could be, should be, will be the face of the company. And again, we don't get there without the contribution of everyone that you mentioned before you. And we don't get there without the contribution of you. And then the guys that you inspired, like Kofi and what have you. So it's very, very interesting. And I know we took a path there, folks, but my main point is, again, to see AJ Lee come back to the company and see the fruits of her labor bloom and literally be this you know this huge, beautiful arboretum. That's exactly what it's like. Devon can relate to that and what have you. It's a beautiful thing, and thank God that we were all around to witness it. Because it's special, man. It's really, really special to overcome those types of challenges, racism, sexism, what have you. Because that's another thing. AJ Lee is a Latina. Don't think for one second that didn't play into some of these issues too. But
Hmm.
now when you take a look at these women and you see who's main evented and stuff like that, the diversity is through the roof. Through the
Yes.
roof. You know? So it's really cool, man. Really special. I love it. Let's end on this note here. WWE just announced that WrestleMania in 2027 is going to be in Saudi Arabia. We had heard whispers about it. We knew that eventually they were going to have to do it because the Saudis are already giving them too much money to not get a big event. Like, come on, guys, give us the premier event. Finally, they managed to figure it out. I believe $200 million for that event. That's how much the
Jesus.
WWE is getting paid. $200 million. So, what to even say that and think about it, I'm just shaking my head because that's such a fascinating. That you literally can fund Raw and SmackDown, um, each for 2 years with that money,
Listen, let
right?
me just say this: the person who's going to be the main event, that Saudi Arabia show, is going to be paid something lovely. And I mean, good God, listen, I retract what I said earlier. I'll come out of retirement if I can be on that show. It
Right.
just be the opening match. I can only imagine what the opening match is going to be. Listen, the Hardys and the Dudleys one more time after
One more
after Val
time,
Fedor. One more time. Good God, I can only imagine
bro.
because
The merch sales alone. Give me a break. The
listen,
merch alone.
some of the guys that went to Saudi Arabia that did the battle royal. One person, I don't want to tell his business, but one person told me he went in there in that battle royal. He was in there for about like 30 seconds. He got paid, I think, almost close to $100,000.
Woo wee. Woo.
And I'm
And
like,
that's just the battle
damn,
royal.
that's just the
God.
battle royal. So the Hardys and the Dudleys, again, the nostalgia, even though we had did it at Bound for Glory, one more time.
One more for that kind of money. Yeah,
One more
one more
time.
time, please.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
but
Devon,
that's
You probably break a leg or something. One more time. One
you'll
more
be able to pay
time.
for it. You'll be
Yeah,
able to
one
pay
more
for it. It's
time.
okay, bro. $200 million. I mean, whoa, for one event, right? For
Mm,
one event, $200 million.
man,
So
listen,
we're in a
let's go to
different
Saudi Arabia for
class.
the next 10 years.
Yeah, bro. That's it. That's it. And listen, you see the knuckleheads online because people are always going to complain. If you tell somebody that it's raining outside, they complain. If you tell them it's sunny outside, they complain. People just complain to complain. But people are complaining, how dare they? They're bringing it to Saudi Arabia. They shouldn't do that and this and that. Give me a break. Give me a
I guarantee
break.
you one thing. I guarantee you one thing. The people who are going to be wrestling on that card at that WrestleMania ain't complaining and ain't
Hell
saying how
no.
dare you. So for you people that are home, that are sitting up there making comments like that because you want to go or what have you, take your ass to Saudi Arabia if you want to. I mean, but hell, don't deprive somebody from making money because you want to be selfish because you want it in your own country. If they go over there safe and get brought home safe, and they can make a boatload of money like that, leave them people alone. Let them do what they got to do. Mind your damn business.
Damn right. Damn right. And of course, some of these indie promotions, dirt sheets are hyping them up and stuff. They're upset because they won't get WrestleMania week, which these indie
Right,
promotions like to run and they like to
right.
suck
They
at the
run off the
teat
back.
of
Yep,
WWE. Yep,
yep.
they want to get some of that. So your brother Bubba on Busted Open proposed that Tony Khan should run an event that week in the United States and help these indie promotions out by running an event. So literally put a premier event someplace, have all the indies come around and still run that week and what have you, and kind of fill that void. What do you think of that idea?
I mean, would it have the same as a WrestleMania? That's the only question I would ask. Can he put something on like that that would give that type of deal? I don't know if he could or not.
Well, who's he going to get? That's the question. Like, does he have the creative? I mean, you got enough time now. We're in 2025. 2027 is a while away here. Can you build your creative well enough to have
I
at
don't know.
least two marquee matches that will make people want to partake in something like that?
If Tony was to listen to Bubba and actually do something like that, Tony, call your father and tell him to break out that checkbook. That's what it's going to take. Call your daddy. Call your daddy. Tell him to make that checkbook happen. Because that's
You know what
exactly
I'm
what it would
saying?
take. Because if you don't think WWE is going to be smart enough to take people to Saudi Arabia with them, that if they got an ounce to hear that he was doing that. If you don't think they're going to take money to bring them to Saudi Arabia just for him not to be on Tony's show, you crazy. WWE will do
Great
whatever it
point.
takes.
Great point. Great point. Listen, whatever shape he's in, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, you all are going to be on the card somehow, some way. It's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? You guys are on the card, so you better start getting on the Devon Dudley program right now. You got a little bit over a year. Start training now, fellas, because your ass is going to be you're working. You're working, okay?
Listen,
I'm just telling you that right
that
now.
that type of money will make anybody come out of retirement.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? We listen. We might have to resurrect Andre the Giant or something. But for that kind of money, something's got to give, bro.
You ain't
Something's
lying.
got to give. You know, because they want listen, and they deserve it because they're paying for it. But they deserve the absolute greatest event in the history of pro wrestling, not just WWE. In pro wrestling history, they deserve the greatest event that ever happened.
Yeah,
You know,
pretty much.
so do you do the Rock and Cody? Do you do the Rock and Roman? Like what special attraction match do you put on something like that? You know, because the Rock has to wrestle on that. There's no way he can't wrestle.
I think The Rock said he wasn't going to wrestle anymore. I think he said he was done, if
His
I'm not
ass is
mistaken.
going to Saudi Arabia. He
I'm
is
sure he's
going
going
to
to
wrestle.
Saudi, but I'm sure he does. Listen, if anything, I don't know. Rock don't need the money, but but Devon does. So I'm just saying, Devon to come out. Devon to do it. I may not have the same qualifications as The Rock or Stone Cold Steve Austin, but I'm just letting you know, if you want to give a brother a shot and see how it turn out, I'm available.
Brock Lesnar, Devon Dudley is next. All right, come on, let's go.
Okay, see, there you go. There you go. No, that there's an exception to the rule. Money can't buy everything, and that's one thing I'm not doing. You ain't
Oh,
getting me killed.
I forgot to mention Lesnar and Heyman pretty much reunited, at least for one night. Heyman announced Lesnar at WrestlePalooza.
At WrestlePalooza, yeah, I saw that. I
Yeah,
saw that.
yeah. So could you imagine Heyman's cutting promos on you?
No, and I don't even want people to even get that even as a thought in their head that would happen. No, hell no. No. Because see, at least John Cena walked out of the ring on his own. He was messed up, but he walked out on his own. I would not walk out of the ring. Okay, I'm too old
Nah,
to be doing that shit. No, 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 no. No, no, no. I'm not trying to go to Suplex City or get F5.
no. You don't want that.
No.
My God, I can't even imagine. You know,
Yeah, neither can
my
I.
God. You ever see Brock pick up a referee by his pants and just throw him?
Yes. Yes.
Jesus,
I believe it was
Jesus.
Charles
Robinson,
what's Robinson, yeah.
just pick him up by his pants and just throw him. It's like, damn. Can you
That
imagine
man
that? You're a
is
grown man.
Brock has strength that no one else could even imagine to have.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's a bad dude. He's a
Hmm.
bad dude. Anyway, Devon, what's the
I
best?
feel sorry.
What's that?
Hold on, I feel sorry for his daughter's boyfriend, the football player. I just saw pictures on Twitter. I'm like, man, if that girl has to be home at midnight, you better bring her home at 11:30. Just saying.
Oh shoot, she looked like she could kick his ass her own damn self.
I'm
That girl ain't
sure,
no
but if you don't
joke.
think Brock, listen, if you don't think Brock's gonna take the opportunity to scare his ass, you crazy.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure. I'm
I
sure.
know, I
You
know
know,
Brock.
listen. I hope his daughter ends up coming into the business because she looks incredible.
I
You
mean,
know, can you imagine her?
she's powerful, just like her father.
Oh my God. Especially with this women's roster we have right now. Can you imagine her being the shark in that water? Oh my God.
Listen, I can only imagine what would happen if she did decide to want to come into professional wrestling. Hey, and she's young enough to make that decision even 10 years from now. So you
That's a
never
good
know.
point. That's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah, that would be something exciting, man. I hope it
Hmm.
happens. Anyway, what's the best way to keep up with you, big man?
All right. Well, testify Devon on Instagram. Of course, I always put that over. And also my YouTube video, my YouTube podcast. So you can check me out there as well. Like and subscribe to the channel and leave your comments below.
And don't forget, folks, if you want to chase your dreams, hopefully become the next superstar in the pro wrestling industry, then you definitely want to check out Devon Dudley Academy. Why not be
Absolutely.
trained by the best? Why not?
Absolutely.
Forget about the rest. Of course, folks, as always, Duke Loves Rasslin on Facebook, on Twitter, DukeLovesRasslin@gmail.com. Let me know what you think of the show. Get in your shout-outs, the whole 9 yards there. Bound for Glory is around the corner. The fact that you're getting this step-by-step guide, hearing Devon talk about his journey leading up to this historic match is just special. So we thank you for tuning in as always, folks. All right, brother, it's that time. Word of the week. What do you got for us?
Oh man, I don't know. Um, I usually have them ready, but I didn't have one for this week. But I can say this: make sure if anybody messes with you, you put their ass through a table and mean it. How about that?
Testify.
My brother.
Strictly for the culture every day. Step in style in your unique way. Patterns and colors so defined. All about the perfect line. Be yourself, let your spirit fly. In this fashion, you'll touch the sky. Strictly for the culture, brand so fine. Dress to impress and show your shine. Strictly for the culture, every day. Step in style in your unique way.
Visit www.strictlyfortheculture.ca.
Backstage whispers and the crowds roar. From matching giants to legends of yore. Devon's wisdom and Duke's keen view. Every episode feels like it's brand new. Devon and the Duke bring the heat. Wrestling tales knock you off your seat. Tune in now, don't you be late. Wrestling podcast never